Hello, future Hemant, and yes, second video of the day after the IPL 2021 one, and this is about the second wave of the COVID-19 that's going around in India. I just want to tell my opinion on it. You've heard a lot about it, and you're probably tired of hearing more. I'll tell the stuff that no one really brings it up or that often. First thing, why the hell did cases go from 10,000 to 3,25,000 in just a span of 15 to 16 days? One main reason is not because of people following it improperly. That is a reason, but that's not a main reason. The main reason is because of lockdown fatigue. That we have to note down. That people don't talk much about that. Lockdown fatigue, as the name suggests, means that people are tired of the lockdown. They've done it for so long that no one wants to do it anymore. And this is not a matter of choice. It's a financial stress too. Like all these social distancing, sanitizing, and all, it drains a lot of energy out of people, man. People going working every day out there, wearing a mask as soon as you step out of the house and removing only when you come back to your house. That's really tiring, bro. Trust me. I've worn for like the max I've gone for is like for an exam before the second wave and all the bullshit started. Actually, I went when the cases were actually really less, when the cases were declining, somewhere around November for some Olympiads like KVPY and IOQM. I wore a mask there, 3 hours just wearing the mask. I was just sitting on a chair wearing a mask for 3 hours straight. I couldn't do it. Imagine the labor, doing all that hard work in hot sun, under the hot sun, with already their body, they're not completely fit. They're used to the normal way of working, and now you put a mask and cover 50% of their oxygen supply, expect them to work even more in overtime because they're financially strained harder, they're more dependent on money now. It's not flexible anymore, forcing them to work more with a weird environment every day, day and night. That too, someone's going off work because of this lockdown and all. So they're not even sure if they'll get work later on. And they're working so hard with the masks on. Do you think people won't get tired after doing all that? Yes, they will. And corona spreads mainly because of the lower middle class. It's not their fault, it's just that they're the ones who are the worst affected. We upper middle class can just sit in our homes and watch TV and binge all day long. It's hard for them, the ones who have to go out every day, the lower the lower class. Damn, man, like also the oxygen supply. It's been so many years, and making oxygen is not a profitable business. That's why no one makes it on a huge industry scale. You need it like once in a while, often. All of a sudden, it goes up, and you just can't deal with it anymore. We could deal with the increase in the requirement of vaccines because even before this situation, people used to give billions of vaccines every year. So we did have the facilities to deal with that. But oxygen, no one requires oxygen on a daily basis. There's so many people who've lived their whole life without even taking any oxygen. So a sudden increase in products that are already being made in a large scale is manageable. But oxygen, who the hell uses oxygen on a daily basis? Except those once in a blue moon very old people who need every day when they sleep. No one. No one really needs it. It's just so disheartening to see people die just because they don't get proper treatment. And then we have people on other people on social media saying that, oh, please don't post this, please don't post that, don't post about this COVID helplines. You're not helping us. It's a time of need. And there are many people who actually do that on Instagram. They're like, oh, don't post this stuff, it's not needed. I just want to see your pictures. Oh, it's a time of need. Please adjust. And actually, though, Instagram is are not a great place to send awareness or even helpline numbers for general, because the people who get sick and who die are old people, like 70 to 80 year olds. The people taking care of them are middle-aged people, like 40 to 50 year olds, my parents age range, about 50 years old. So those people don't have Insta accounts. They're gonna call a lot of people, call their relatives, mainly their relatives, they're gonna find out doctors through the relatives and directly call them. They're gonna refer to a lot of WhatsApp, seeing all the forward and all the helplines and all. And at most they'll go to Facebook for helpline numbers. So the people who are really willing to help, the age group of the people who are really willing to help the old people just doesn't fall under the Insta user. So Insta is quite an inefficient place to send all these helpline numbers in. But who knows, their children my age can find out about it, as I've seen in many people's stories. We can help, and there is really no harm in spreading all that on Insta. Like, if you spread it and reshare it 100 times just for the hope of saving one person, it's worth it. And yeah, you masks, social distancing, sanitizing. I know you're tired of those words. Actually, they're not that efficient. They're not that working anymore. This new strain spreads through air. So even if you clean the walls, let's say like this wall 100 times, and let's say a COVID patient has been there, it's in the air. The COVID's in the air. No matter how many times you clean the wall, it's gonna go from there and stick there, and from the air it's gonna go directly to your nose. So actually, cleaning walls, cleaning packages, it's okay. Packages might be useful because through packages the only way it comes to you is through this thing. But it's airborne now, and it travels much longer. It's much more lethal. Two reasons why this virus was affected the world so much is because it's lethal and it spreads fast. If it was only one of them, then we could have ignored it. It would have been a flu. Like, if it only spread fast and didn't affect much, it could have been a flu. If it was deadly but didn't spread that much, we could have ignored that also. Even though even though it does kill a few people, like Ebola, let's say. Mask is not that. You need to wear a double mask when you go out. Trust me, for those labours out there working with a double, already a mask is so hard, bro. They're gonna face many other issues, and wearing a double mask is even harder. And I totally get it why people don't wear masks out there. It's just tiring, man. It's tiring. What do you want to be safe from? Like, do you want to be safe from corona, or it's the question for them, the question stated to them is, do you want to be safe from corona, like a flu disease, or do you want to have enough money to feed your family? Because if you're gonna wear that mask and work for 18 hours, it's just not possible. Okay, at least for people have managed with a mask. With double mask and all, no one's gonna do it. Surprisingly, even though the cases are 3 lakh in India, in rural, it's no one even cares. Still, no one cares in rural. I've been on both sides. One of my grandfathers in Hyderabad in the city, and he got corona, and it became moderate. When he was in isolation, he did shiver. When the lights went out, I think he kind of got scared or something, fell on the floor, shocked. So we had to admit him to the hospital. Luckily, the case wasn't severe, so he's safe now. And also, I've been on the other side, the rural side also. My other grandparents' family lived as a joint family in a rural side. They have a lot of work every day, man. They have all this agricultural work and all that. Since it's harvesting, okay, recently the harvesting season got over, but even though during the harvesting time, they're not wearing the mask. They're 70-year-old, man. They work on the field day and night. They need enough oxygen to breathe and work. It's not possible for people like with that kind of work to even wear a mask. Even if they're middle aged, they could have managed with a mask, but they're old, bro. They're just 70, 80 years old. They don't do that intensive work. Most of them is done by their children anyway. But still, they just can't wear a mask, man. They can't wear it all the time. Damn. Other countries helping with all the oxygen tanks and all that. It's not enough. As long as people are money minded, there's no hope for this country, man. Anything that happens in this country happens big. It's a very huge population, man. Any development in this country will happen slowly. And with this much corruption, all of them work hard, none of them get what they deserve. I would have been really affected if my grandfather's case would have gone severe. He was just moderate, just above my age. I'm glad he's safe now. Everyone in my mother's side of the family either got the vaccine or got infected. Even my grandfather, he got this virus, he got infected just 3 days before getting his second dose of Covishield. And there's also a lot of mess up in the medicines he took. Luckily, he didn't have any BP or sugar, so it's worse for those kind of people. Why the hell are elections being held? If there's one decision we all can agree that the government is doing wrong, it's elections. Postpone them, man. Like, even the youth, the rural youth, they're not even listening. They're going in huge crowds, crammed against each other just to support their party or whatever. Even the youth is getting infected, the middle aged over there getting infected, the people who are right next to the rallies over there getting infected. The politicians themselves are getting severely infected. Why don't they just stop it? At least for their sake. Damn it, are the elections are the votes that important? Even the media is doing a horrible job, man. They're finding out about all these people who've lost their dear ones, like their father or something, because of not proper hospital treatment after they die. And the only reason they find it is to blame allegations on the other government, saying that, oh, why couldn't you take care of them? If you can give them media coverage, why couldn't you give them the coverage before their dear ones die? You're just doing it for TRP. Everyone knows that. The elections being held is like the stupidest decision right now. Why? Who even allowed it? And from today, the lockdown starts in Karnataka. I don't think it's a complete lockdown. I still see irresponsible idiots going and taking jogging rounds over there. I don't really have a say, man. Even I got positive, so I don't really get to say. At least my getting positive, like, we got tested positive. Only me, actually, not my whole family. My other 3 members of the family tested negative. Only I tested positive. How was that possible? Yes, that is possible. When we went to the physiotherapy center, I went alone and I didn't feel well, so I just went straight to my room. And they already suspected me, so they cleaned the room and all, made me wear an N95 whenever I came out of my room. So the next day we just went and get tested just to be safe. Me and my dad and my brother and my mother went. Those 3 tested negative. I tested positive. I went first, tested positive. Those 3 went later, tested negative. Look, it is possible in a house to have a few people tested positive and a few people tested negative. Just because they live in the same house doesn't mean they all get positive immediately. If you put the proper measures, like, putting them in a separate room, that's what my parents did. They did it right after I went to the physiotherapy center. See, I had a cut over here and it hit my ulnar nerve. So that's the reason why my fingers are bent. So I had to go to physiotherapy to straighten these fingers up. And it's still going on. It'll be straight soon. Before it used to bend this much before. Now it's at least now it's manageable. Yeah, you still see the bend, but it's not that much. So I went to a physiotherapy center. Over there was a irresponsible patient, who just went and sat on the bed, just opened the shoulders like that and told, oh, give me the exercise over there. Removed a mask, literally cuffed all of it on the nurse and the physiotherapist. Damn, that's literally how I got it. And people who say, I don't know where I got COVID from, either you're very irresponsible, that you went to so many places that you didn't know which place you got corona from, or you're just hiding it. Look, yeah, because you think it's shameful. It is shameful. That's the reason why people are hiding it. Like, if you tell the reason why you did your mistake, people will be like, "Oh, you're so irresponsible, bro." At least I'm telling, because I had a proper medical reason. I had a proper medical reason to go out here. If anything happens to this hand, I won't be able to do like 90% of the task in future. So it was an urgent thing at that time. Now it's fine. But thing is, yeah, everyone does know where they got it from. People do know where they get infected from. They just don't want to share it because it's too shameful to say. If either you were irresponsible, yeah, again, as I said, either you are irresponsible, or there's this one specific place you went to, you find it a little suspicious, come back, you tested positive. The people who say, "Oh, I didn't go anywhere and I still got positive," you went to that, you must have gone somewhere, and the one place where you went out recently is the place where you got it from. Simple. Yeah, even I thought you get COVID randomly, but now it's actually pretty clear. I knew exactly where I got it from. Rest all it was pretty similar. Like, when I got it, I faced the normal stuff. Like, it mainly affects the throat. So I took some medicines for throat and all. Stayed in a separate room, and they passed the food just right in front of the door, knocked it, and then left. As soon as they took it, they sanitized it, wearing a double mask. So yeah, I'm at least glad I got it in September. That reason, that was when the strain wasn't that strong. Like, if I face this current strain, okay, now I'm responsible. Now it's been 2 months since I've gone out properly. So yeah, since if I got this recent, if I was irresponsible now, at least I learned my lesson then. If it was irresponsible now and went out and got corona, if I got COVID-19, it would have been worse. Maybe in as worse as to make me admitted in the hospital. I'm glad I didn't go on that hospital bullshit when I got corona. So yeah. And really, like, how useful is this awareness? Almost every person except people who are like tribes living in Mongolia or something, every person in this world knows that you have to wear mask, follow distance, and sanitize everything. You don't have to tell it again and again. Why are news reporters telling again? And news reporters telling it is the biggest comedy again. They go out there, remove their mask fully, or they talk loudly without wearing a mask at all. They literally bark at people. They bark on the mic they hold, like, oh, and they shame other people for not wearing a mask. And there are many reporters who even got positive. And even after they recover from that, again they go into the streets without wearing a mask. Again they shame the people who don't wear a mask. There was a news channel where a reporter just removed his mask, like not even lifted, put it down, just removed it, went to the police who's wearing a mask. The police found someone who wasn't wearing a mask in a car. A car is already a closed space, so wearing a mask is not that important, but it's important. But still, the point being is the police who wears a mask properly goes and catches the people in the car who doesn't wear the mask, and the reporter who doesn't wear the mask at all goes and questions that guy why you're not wearing a mask. That's the problem. Even the same problem, yeah, that's the problem with India, not with other countries. Okay, other countries are even worse, but that's the problem in India. Even that's the same problem that happens with parents. They tell their children to follow something which they don't follow fully themselves. That's the mentality of it. And they always think that if you scold at your child, you're helping them. No, there's a difference between scolding and actually helping. Like what police are doing, they are helping. I know they are fining, but still, there are police out there who go catch random people, put advise them to wear a mask, put a fine on them, and give them a mask. Actually, give them a mask. That's helping, raising awareness, and staying at checkposts to make sure that people wear the mask. That's maintaining it. And then there are idiots, motherfuckers like the media who don't wear masks, who just go question everywhere, who take interviews of dead people and not even helping them. Really, man, like I saw one person on the in the news channel, they are crying continuously. The media never even bothered when the patient was alive, the patient those people are taking care of. Now when the patient dies, they make a full big news out of it. They blame it on the BJP for not taking proper measures. It's a private hospital. Okay, the government's fault is there, but you can't blame everything on the government. It's like nagging your child. There's a difference between, oh, you shouldn't have eaten 2 biscuits and you shouldn't have eaten 10 biscuits. You should keep a different intonation in each whenever you scold them in both those times. That's the problem. That's another problem with Indian people. No matter how small a problem, no matter how big or small the problem is, they blame the government with the same voice. If it's a small problem, you should ignore it, ignore it a little. If it's a big problem, you should make huge awareness out of it. But what they do is they shout. They just randomly shout when the small incident happens. They shout when a big incident happens. What happens when you nag a child a lot? He doesn't follow anything. He doesn't listen to their parents at all. And now we are the people under the government shouting at the government. This is exactly why government doesn't listen to us at all. Because we blame every problem on this fucking planet on the government. Hence they don't even follow the necessary ones. They don't even make the necessary changes, like elections. Let's say you blame the testing on the government. You blame the elections on the government. The testing, not having enough testing modules is not government's fault. It's just, we just don't have the capacity. And government uses that as an example to say that you're blaming us for random stuff, so we won't do stuff. So we won't make any changes. And then in necessary places where the government can actually take action, like stopping the elections, we don't put enough concentration there. You should shut the fuck up when it comes to testing. You test and go. And there are people who don't wear masks, who open their mask like that, go in crowds like that just because there's a huge line, stand very close to each other, have a high chance of spreading COVID right there, who complaining about not having tests. What the hell, man? No one follows shit properly here, bro. Really pissing off. And if we are, before blaming the government's fault is there, but also look at yourself. Look at the changes you can do. At least when you're going for testing, wear a double mask for sure. If you're going for testing, obviously there are people, the suspects who have the corona. So maintain 6 feet, at least in front of your line, behind your line. The recommended distance is actually 20 feet now, so even 6 feet is useless if someone has the virus. But at least maintain 6 feet. You stand this close. You stand this close in lines. Open your mask. Shout at the fellow. You have a better chance of getting positive right there than getting tested. Do you realize that? It's like you miss 3 exams. You fail in 3 exams to get the result of 1 exam. And who knows, you can fail in that exam too. That's how stupid it is. Just for a test, you're risking yourself. Just stay at home, man. That's all I have to say. I know, a lot of this can be wrong, so I apologize here itself. But I don't care. The whole point of making this video is about reflecting my opinion. It's 25 minutes long, but who cares? My opinion's out there. So you can't say I haven't spoken. I have spoken about this. I haven't helped, but I've spoken. Yeah, that's it.